Have you ever sat in the salon chair, flipping through a glossy magazine or scrolling your phone, and every hairstyle that makes your heart skip a beat looks nothing like what you're wearing right now? I've seen that moment so many times, the pause, the little sigh, and the thought, maybe my hair hasn't kept up with the woman I am today. Hair is so personal. It carries memories, habits, even old versions of ourselves. Many of us have worn the same cut or color for years, not because it still flatters us, but because it's familiar, safe. And yet, somewhere deep down, we know it's not telling the story we want told anymore. Here's what I believe: style isn't about pretending to be younger. It's about honoring where you are right now, with all the grace, confidence, and life experience you've earned. When your hair reflects this chapter, your whole presence changes. You feel lighter, fresher, more in tune with yourself. That's why I created Chic Over 50, a space where we share thoughtful, elegant style shifts that work with who we are today. If that sounds like the kind of inspiration you've been looking for, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button so we can keep growing together. Today, I'm sharing 5 common hair mistakes that quietly age or distract from your best features, and the simple, modern fixes that bring your look back into harmony. Let's begin with one that can surprise even the most polished women. Mistake 1, long hair without shape. Long hair can be beautiful, but without the right shape, it's like wearing a gown that's never been tailored. It hides the magic you already have. I remember a summer charity event under strings of twinkling lights. Everyone was dressed in their best. The air carried the scent of roses, and conversations hummed like music in the background. That's when I saw a dear friend I hadn't met in years. She still had that graceful air about her, the kind that comes from knowing herself, but her hair, it was the same heavy sheet of straight, one-length hair she'd worn in her 30s. Smooth and shiny, yes, but it hung without life, pulling the gaze downward and away from her warm eyes. That's the quiet challenge of hair without shape. Especially for women in this season of life, it might feel safe, but it can work against you. Without layers or framing, the weight builds at the ends. There's no movement to catch the light, no lift to guide the eye upward. Slowly, subtly, it can soften your jawline, blur your bone structure, and give an impression of fatigue that you may not feel at all. The good news: you don't have to lose the length to bring back the light. Imagine soft, face-framing layers that kiss the cheekbones and follow the line of your jaw, lifting your features like a gentle smile. Picture a touch of depth at the roots, melting into sunlit brightness toward the ends. Not a stark before and after, but a graceful shift that adds dimension and vitality. When the hair moves, the whole face comes alive. I always tell women like us, your hair should help you rise, not weigh you down. It should mirror the energy and joy you feel inside, even on quieter days. And sometimes, just a few thoughtful changes, a snip here, a layer there, a soft shimmer of color can feel like turning on better lighting for your whole face. Once you see the difference shape makes, you'll understand why I say hair is never just hair. And it might make you wonder if length without shape can hold us back. What happens when short hair misses the mark? Mistake 2, wrong pixie cut. A pixie cut can be like a spotlight. It has the power to frame your face and make your features sing. But in the wrong form, it can feel like wearing someone else's dress. Lovely on them, not quite right on you. I think of a friend from our book club. She's vibrant, full of opinions. The kind of woman who makes you laugh so hard you spill your tea. One month, she walked in with a brand new pixie inspired by a photo of a famous actress she adored. On the star, it was perfection. Cheekbones for days, effortless elegance. On my friend, it wasn't bad, but something was off. The angles were too sharp for her softer features. The crown sat too flat, and the magic she'd imagined simply wasn't there. That's the thing about short hair. It's honest. There's nowhere to hide. Every angle, every curve of your face is part of the design. And for women in this season of life, our bone structure, hair texture, and even our daily rhythms play a huge role in whether a pixie works for us. What's flattering for one person can feel unbalanced for another. Before you take the plunge, pause for a moment with your reflection. Ask yourself, what do I want to highlight? My eyes, my jawline, my smile, and just as important, what do I want to soften? Those answers will guide everything. Bring your inspiration photo. Yes, but be ready for your stylist to adjust it. Maybe you'll need more volume at the crown to lift your features, or longer pieces near the ears for softness. The best pixies are tailored, not copied. When you find the right shortcut, It's transformative. I've seen women like us walk out of the salon with nothing more than a white t-shirt and jeans and still look like the most stylish person in the room. It's not about the hair itself. It's about how it works with you. And speaking of transformations, one of the most common changes women make sometimes with mixed results is lightening their color to hide the grays. Which brings us to the next point. Mistake 3, going lighter just to hide gray. A few silver strands peeked out at my temples, and suddenly, everyone told me to just go blonde. But here's what they didn't warn me about. I remember watching a friend rush into this very decision. One week, she was her rich, deep brunette self, and the next, she had gone several shades lighter, at first glance. The gray strands were less noticeable, but so was her natural warmth. Her eyes didn't pop the way they used to, and her skin seemed quieter, almost as if someone had dimmed the lights. The truth is, going lighter, just to hide gray is like putting a filter on your photo without checking how it changes the colors. It can smooth one thing but wash out everything else. Hair color isn't just about covering, it's about harmony. If the shade doesn't suit your undertone, it can make your complexion look tired. No matter how flawless your makeup is or how bright your smile feels on the inside. Here's what I tell women in this season of life. Instead of asking, what will hide the gray best? Start with, what color makes me feel most alive? Maybe that's a warm chestnut that echoes the tones in your eyes. Or a deep caramel with ribbons of honey that dance in the light.
If you love depth,
a rich espresso at the roots with a softer melt into lighter ends can create dimension that feels natural. And if you're ready to play with the gray instead of hiding it completely, try blending techniques, soft highlights and lowlights that make those silver strands look like intentional threads of light, not intruders. One of the most elegant women I know wears her natural silver streaks against a smoky, ash-brown base. The contrast is subtle, but it makes her eyes sparkle and her skin glow. She once told me, I stopped fighting my hair when I realized it was telling my story. And that's the heart of it. Gray doesn't have to be the enemy. With the right color choice, it becomes a luxurious accent, a mark of character and confidence. So the next time those silver strands whisper hello, pause before reaching for the bleach. Ask yourself instead, will this color lift my energy? Will it make me feel like me? Because the goal isn't to disappear your gray, it's to make you shine brighter than ever. Now, speaking of trends that can change the entire mood of your face, let's talk about a style that's been everywhere in recent years and why it doesn't always deliver the magic it promises. Curtain bangs. Mistake 4, curtain bangs without customization. There's nothing quite like the disappointment of loving a haircut you saw online and realizing it doesn't love you back. I think of a woman from my yoga class, vibrant, glowing, always up for trying something new. One day, she walked in with fresh curtain bangs, inspired by a style she'd saved from social media. They looked flawless on the person in the picture. Wispy, effortless, perfectly parted. But after a couple of weeks, she quietly admitted, I think my bangs are making my face look heavier. And she wasn't wrong. The long, straight pieces framed her cheeks in a way that pulled the eye outward, not upward. Instead of opening her face, they closed it in. That's the tricky truth about curtain bangs. They aren't one size fits all. The trend version often assumes you have the exact face length, crown volume, and hair density of the person in the photo. But in real life, every face tells a different story. If your face is round, you'll want those bangs to angle softly down the sides, tapering just enough to give your cheekbones breathing room. If your face is long, you'll need a bit of curve or lift at the top to balance that length. And if your hair is thick and heavy, your stylist might thin the bangs slightly or part them just off-center to keep them from flattening your look. When I'm with women in this season of life, I remind them, your bangs should act like the perfect picture frame, enhancing, not distracting. The right frame draws your attention to the art. The wrong one competes with it. A small tweak shifting the part a touch, adding a layer to lighten the sides, or cutting them just shy of the jawline can completely change the effect. One friend of mine calls her custom bangs her soft focus filter. They sweep just enough across her forehead to highlight her eyes while keeping her cheekbones in play. When she laughs, the movement in her hair makes her whole face light up. That's when you know a cut is working for you. It feels like an extension of your personality, not a costume you're trying on. So before you commit to those dreamy curtain bangs you've been seeing everywhere, ask yourself, do they fit the way my face moves? Do they lift me up? Because the right style should give you freedom, not something to wrestle with in the mirror every morning. And speaking of freedom, let's talk about something deeper. The kind of beauty that doesn't start in the salon chair at all, but in the way you care for your hair from the inside out. That's where so many women unknowingly make their biggest mistake. Mistake 5, only treating hair from the outside. You can pamper your hair with the finest oils and serums, but if the roots are starved from within, the shine will never truly last. One winter, I noticed several women in my circle, myself included, swapping tips on the richest hair masks, the most luxurious serums, the perfect leave-in conditioners. We tried them all, hoping to revive hair that felt limp and a little lifeless from the dry, cold air. But after weeks of treatments, some of us were still watching more strands collect in the shower drain than we'd like to admit. That's when it hit me. Hair health isn't just about what you apply on the outside. It's a mirror of what's happening inside your body. If your diet is missing enough protein, if your iron or vitamin D is low, if your hormones are shifting, your hair will show it before you even realize something's off. Think of your hair like a plant. No matter how much you polish the leaves, if the roots don't get water and nutrients, growth will slow and strength will fade. So, the real beauty work begins beneath the surface. Add more protein to your meals. Think salmon, eggs, Greek yogurt, lentils to feed the keratin your strands are made of. Omega-3s from fish, walnuts, or flaxseed can add natural luster and keep your scalp hydrated. Make sure vitamin D is on your radar, especially in the darker months, as it supports hair growth cycles. And don't underestimate the simple things. Enough sleep to allow your body to repair, enough water to keep every cell hydrated, and stress management to keep hormone levels steady. If you're navigating menopause or hormonal changes, it's worth having a conversation with your healthcare provider. Sometimes even small hormonal shifts can thin hair noticeably, and there are gentle ways to bring balance back. When the inner foundation is strong, those serums and masks you love will suddenly work better because they're enhancing hair that's already nourished from within. I like to think of a healthy head of hair as a crown that you grow yourself, a reflection of how well you've cared for both your body and your spirit. When you feed your hair from the inside out, that crown becomes naturally radiant, and no amount of winter wind or daily wear can dull it. We've just walked through 5 hair mistakes that so many women in this beautiful season of life unknowingly make, and the small, thoughtful changes that can completely shift the way we look and feel. None of this is about a complete reinvention. It's about alignment, making sure your hair, your style, and your spirit are speaking the same language. If even one of these ideas made you pause and think, that's what's been missing, then I'd love to know. Share your own hair story in the comments, what you've tried, what's worked, or even what you're still figuring out. You might be surprised how many women feel the same way. And if you'd like more conversations like this style, beauty, and the art of showing up as your best self over 50, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to join our Chic Over 50 community. Let's keep learning, laughing, and growing together. Take care of your hair, and let it take care of how you feel every single day. I'll see you in the next video.